This guy just arrived in the mail, and it's a laptop. I paid $250 for it, and it features an i7 from 4th gen, low power, and it should have a dedicated GPU. So I'm gonna try and do some stuff, do some tuning, and actually get a decent gaming laptop on a very strict budget out of it. So now let me just open the package, and let's see what's inside. Alright, the guy packed it with quite a bit of effort. That's good, I guess, but then there is just the laptop, which is odd, but alright. It's super dirty, Jesus. Okay, thanks God I put this thing on my desk. Alright, so here it is. Now let me just put it over here, and now I hope there is the charger, to be honest. Alright, here is the charger. It's actually a decent charger, wasn't expecting that. And let's see if there is anything else in this huge thing here. No. Alright. Now let's try not to, let this paper go all over my desk, please. Let's go. Okay. Now, the laptop is looking decent. Again, it's like super dirty. So I'm gonna probably bring it outside from some watering. Not really, not this time, I guess. Alright. The inside is actually decent. It's pretty clean. And as we can read here, the specs are an i7 45110U, 8 GB of RAM, and now again, it has a NVIDIA GeForce 820. Now, an 820 should be ample fine to play some competitive games, and I really hope that with some BIOS modding, we can get it to play Apex. So that's basically the focus of today. So let me just plug the charger right in and turn on this guy. Now the guy said that he actually did a full fresh install of Windows, so we're gonna see if that's actually the case. Well, it's turning on, that's already a good thing, alright? So alright, here we go. It's quite slow, it has a mechanical hard drive, so we'll probably replace it and put an SSD in here. Probably a small SSD, like a 120, and then maybe I can mod the hard drive bay, the DVD bay, and put a hard drive in there. But anyway, I believe that with some clean, some quality BIOS modding, some undervolting, we're gonna get a great machine out of this. Now, let me just show it to you a little bit. It's pretty damaged down here, but just aesthetically. And the backside is looking decent, the battery is removable, and yeah, it should be relatively easy to access. Now it's turning on, which is good. And as you can see, it's like super slow. I just want to get into Windows to see if it actually gets into Windows. And then I will stop this video, clean it up, and then we can come back for the optimization and everything. I will, of course, install Windows with a fresh install. But yeah, it's super slow, wow. I mean, it's still loading. And this is why people chuck off those laptops for like $200, because, can you really just turn it on and wait 5 minutes every time? Not really. But alright, we are booting, so I guess it's working now. We will run a couple of stress tests before, but it's working, guys. Alright boys, now I was trying to install Windows as you saw, but it was simply too slow, so I grabbed this SSD I had lying around. These are 120 gigs, but it's gonna be plenty fine for now. So I'm gonna just slide it open. Now, it's kinda cool that we have this like easy to remove thing to upgrade the RAM and the storage, because it's like the only thing you can upgrade actually. So that's handy. Now, yeah, I'm just gonna have to remove the hard drive from this shroud, put that one in, and slot it in, guys. And here we go. Just gotta slot it in. Done. Now I'm gonna screw it in, close it up, and install Windows. And here we go. Now we ran our Firestrike test, and this is pretty much the temperature which we are getting max on the GPU. as you can see, it's 79 degrees, which means that it's probably throttling. Now we're gonna run a quick Intel burn test here to actually check the CPU temp, and then we'll come back. All right, now we passed the stress test, and as you can see, it was hovering at around 80 degrees, and the core clocks was at around 2.5 gigahertz all the time, so it's throttling. I guess it's time to open it up. Alright guys, now look at this is pretty cool. Now this is our GPU, our GT820M, and this is our CPU. Now it's a dual core with hyper-threading CPU, and those two are the cores. And you might be wondering, what's this? Well, this is actually the integrated graphics, which is detached from the cores. Kinda cool guys. Now let's get back into repasting it. Especially since some of those connectors from the keyboard and the mousepad are pretty fragile and pretty easy to miss, I recommend that you just test if it works before closing it up properly. This way we can just quickly see if we've plugged everything properly, and if we haven't, we can just fix it up real quick. Now let's see. Our keyboard is working. Our mousepad seems like it isn't, but in the BIOS, I don't know if it actually should work. So this one is a good one for me. I will just double check the mousepad and then close it up. Alright, now we plugged our SSD to test the mousepad. I just hope it doesn't fall down. Alright, we are actually booting into Windows, that's good. Now let me test the mousepad, and it's working guys. I can just close it up. Now here we are after the overclocking and the tuning. Now we disabled everything. I will do a full guide on how I did that, to get the most out of your Windows installation. But then we got a plus 120 on the core, 200 on the memory. The CPU is stock. And now, before we had around 890 points on the graphics and around 890 total. So we got around a 15% improvement in the graphics score and around a 10% improvement overall, which is quite good if you ask me. And now we're gonna see if this laptop can run a few games. But right now we can already draw a couple conclusions, and that is that, for 250 bucks, pretty good. And that tuning really makes a difference, especially in older laptops. All right, guys, let's go. And for those of you wondering, this is the CPU Z score, which is decent, Remember, this CPU has just 2 cores and 4 threads, even though it's called i7. So yeah, this is pretty much the best we can expect from it. And here we also have our temperatures. As you can see, they are looking great. We have a peak of 70 degrees on the CPU and a peak of 83 degrees on the GPU, which is a little bit on the higher side, but that's because, you know, it has a smaller heatsink, if you've seen, you know, the disassembly part. And overall, it was a pretty big improvement over the stock thermal paste, even though the computer wasn't that dusty. Alright guys, now here we are the conclusions. Now basically what we can take out of this is that, quite simply, I wasn't able to install Fortnite, which I wanted to test, because we don't have enough space on our hard drive, you know, and that's not the best thing, but hey, whatever. And so I tested Apex Legends, which is a little bit more demanding than Fortnite, quite a bit, especially in some scenes. And now what I got with that was I had to basically reduce the resolution to about, what was it, HD, like a little bit like HD standard, like 1280 times 720. But the point is that I had to set a dynamic resolution to scale to make it playable, and it was hovering at around 40 FPS, and I had to manually disable the shadows. But hey, it was playable, and that's good. This means that Fortnite would be playable on the native resolution of this screen with the lowest settings. And that's good, you know, $250 laptop. You can probably get this laptop for cheaper, like a similar spec to one. But what we can take out of this is that any graphics card which is lower than a GT 820M is not, like, you cannot get that one to game on. Like, this one is literally just 10 to 15% faster than the integrated graphics, and that's all we need to play, because, you know, this isn't playable on the integrated graphics, alright? So there's that. And also the cooling system is really, like, on the edge. Like, with our repaste now it's fine, and for normal use perfect, but in gaming, you know, it's right there close to throttling. And of course I could put liquid metal in here, but it's not worth to, you know, use liquid metal in such a cheap laptop. But anyway, this is basically a great office laptop which can also be used for some light gaming. Games like Valorant and CSGO are perfect for this laptop. Like, they run great. Alright guys, now let me know if you like this kind of content. I could cover laptops a little bit more in the future, since I personally like them. I also have my VR laptop right here, so I could cover that as well. And of course, if the laptop is a little bit more high performance, I can do some cooling mods, some liquid metal, so let me know about that. You might want to drop a sub down there, and you'll also find links to my Instagram, Twitch, which I don't really use in this period. So yeah guys, enjoy.